Mindfulness, impact on student behavior in a classroom setting. My name is Angela Schubot with the California State University, Sacramento. My school has a diverse population of students that range from differing levels of socioeconomics, race, and nationality. Of 624 students, 85% are on free and reduced lunches. Many have experienced severe trauma, and 6% are considered homeless. The purpose of the research is to give students a skill to help them work through internal and external stresses. My research question: are there indicators of a connection between mindfulness and behavioral interactions? I took a student-centered teaching approach. Journals were written in both before and after mindfulness meditations. Students practiced in mindful meditation, as well as lessons on empathy and sympathy and how to recognize social cues. The literature that I analyzed expanded my knowledge on mindfulness practices for students that mirrored the population of my school. For example, students with trauma and those with ADHD. Teachers, staff, and students were given surveys. The questions ranged from a student's ability to de-escalate, handle change, transition from task to task, and cooperate in small or large groups. I took the qualitative data from teacher and staff surveys that included observable changes in and out of the classroom. Next, the qualitative data was used to create a more concrete quantitative approach and analysis. Students were given surveys with similar questions and analyzed in the same approach. Personal observations were also accounted for. Questions were given on a rating scale of 1 to 10. Points were assigned of the same value depending on where their observation fell. A score of 0, meaning not at all, was given 0 points. A score of 10, meaning often, was given 10 points. For the first round of data analysis, I introduced students to the idea of mindfulness. It was necessary to teach them the fundamentals of breathing, meditation. Students were taught the concept of relaxed breathing and how to inhale and exhale for the purpose of relaxing and calming themselves. Teachers were surveyed. It was discovered that Group B had higher scores than Group A, specifically in the section of de-escalation. Also noted was the additional surveys would be needed from staff. For data analysis round 2, observation notes were taken. I specifically looked at peer-to-peer interactions. Students were taught how to meditate with the Tibetan meditation bowl and incorporate focused and meditative breathing. Students were surveyed in this round, and I found in this round that I would also need to have the control group do the survey as well for a clearer picture. For the third round of data analysis, I spent more time this round observing the control group. The two experimental groups had lessons on empathy and sympathy. The experimental groups increased their meditation from 1 minute to 5 minutes. I had a complete data set with all teachers, staff, and student surveys. It was noticeable that Group B scores are higher in comparison for both the teacher and staff surveys. Round 1 data had an incomplete selection of teachers and staff surveys. This led me to having additional teachers and staff who have contact with students do the surveys as well. Round 2 was student surveys for only Groups A and B. I realized that the control group must also be tested. Round 3 includes all teachers and staff and all groups of students. The scores between the teacher and student surveys are consistent in that the experimental group scored higher than the control groups. In all variables, Group A and B scored higher than the control group. Comparing the variable between Group A and Group B is noticeably higher for both teachers and students. Teaching and student learning go hand in hand where mindfulness is concerned. Teaching mindfulness improves cognitive function, engagement, emotional intelligence, and teaches self-soothing techniques. For myself, personally and professionally, I have learned to be more kind to myself through the process of mindfulness. I have realized more than ever that calmness and patience are a virtue and necessary to bring to a classroom for the benefit of students' mental and learning space.